Well,
Ready.
here we go. Ready, set, go. Welcome to Clinical Conversations at high noon with the Green Nurses at Holistic Caring Network. We all know what we do. We bring hope and inspiration for growth and healing because we're here to change the dialogue and stigma around what it means to feel good or be high. And that word is really loaded. So let's think about high as being H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing. And we're going to show a little bit about what we do in the cannabis space as nurses, because what we are truly doing is changing the paradigm of healthcare, teaching on the endocannabinoid system. We're change agents here, and here we go. Let's get this video up so we can get started.
Change the paradigm of healthcare.
The Green Nurse is a holistic cannabis nurse that teaches on the endocannabinoid system and the safe utilization of cannabis and other progressive tools to help people reach a better quality of life.
I'm the founder of Holistic Caring. We're based here in California, and we do educational programs and case management for patients on how to use cannabis therapeutically as a medicine.
We're also here to decrease stigma around what it means to feel good and be high, hence the H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing.
As the founder of Holistic Caring, I basically oversee the whole ship, and what we're doing is progressive education.
Cannabis actually supports all 11 organ systems, our immune system, and all the neurotransmitter signaling systems that give messages to tell our body to either do something or not do something. Because the plant was prohibited, it prevented health professionals, doctors and nurses from learning about cannabis as medicine.
I want to change the paradigm of healthcare and us paving the way into a new vanguard of medicine. And I'm excited to really bring this into light. There's a company called Cannabis that we're merging with, and we will now be doing global education.
It's about education, it's about empowerment, it's about teaching people how to feel good, bridging the gap from what they're not getting from traditional medicine, utilizing different plant medicines, adaptogens, tips, tricks, hugs, and nugs of information to support and nourish the most important system in our body.
And it's a lot of soul work, a lot of love, a lot of discipline, and meditation. I'm using my life work as a testimony to others to learn how they can be their own hero and then go help heal the world.
And we are, as nurses, the game changers. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, welcome. My name is Sherry Tuckus, and I'm the Vice President of Nursing at Holistic Caring and the Green Nurse. I'm a cannabis nurse, patient, advocate, activist, and podcaster here to change the paradigm of healthcare, just like Elizabeth said, with a team of amazing nurses and health professionals around the globe. So I'd like to introduce my business partner and my co-host for our clinical monthly conversation. Elizabeth Mack is the CEO and founder of Holistic Caring Network, where the Green Nurses operate out of. And Elizabeth is also the clinical director of clinical affairs at Cannabis in Australia. And she just opened up Cannabis America here in the United States. This is really exciting
It's super
stuff.
exciting,
right?
We couldn't be more pleased.
Yeah,
So
really good.
welcome everybody.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's June already.
It's June. It is June. I can't even believe June
Yeah.
15th.
June 15th.
Happy Hump Day. And you know, June is Men's Health Awareness Month.
It is.
Pride Month.
Happy Father's Day coming up to all the dads.
Yep.
Mhm.
And Pride Month.
In New York and California is July.
July.
So yeah, we're gonna keep going.
We're going to be covering Pride. We're going to definitely be covering Pride, specifically in July when I attend my first parade. That's going to be really
That's
exciting.
going to be very cool.
Yeah, we're going to talk about health
San
and
Diego.
wellness. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be excellent. So Holistic Caring cares about your health, right? And so what we're doing is we're actually giving 25% off. Elizabeth created this amazing program, CBD Wellness Course. So use MEN25. Okay, Men25, and go to holisticcaring.com, and you will be able to order CBD.
The CBD Wellness Coach. If
Yep.
you want to know how CBD works to help keep you well. We go through everything you could possibly need to know, and also the tips and tricks of lifestyle medicine to couple with your cannabinoids.
Yeah. And so, guys, we care. It's really, really important. Did you know that men die at higher rates than women for almost every single cause? Heart disease, stroke, cancer, COPD, accidents, kidney failure, diabetes, and suicide. So, Elizabeth, what do cannabis nurses focus on when it comes to health and wellness and guidance? Right? What do we focus on?
Well, gosh, we focus on the endocannabinoid system and how we can do more of what supports this system that nourishes all of our other body systems and helps bring us back to balance or homeostasis at the cellular level. Body, mind, spirit.
There you go.
Right? All the good things to do.
Yeah. Biopsychosocial spiritual healing. So what are like some things, Elizabeth, that they can actually do? Like, let's just give like examples.
Well, if we think about heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, high cholesterol, etc., right? So people have to manage their levels, and be in tune with their body. So the first thing they need to know is how to get their annual checkups. With the Affordable Care Act, we got everybody to have basic screenings every year. So go get your checkups, get your blood pressure checked, know your blood sugar, know your A1C. Everybody knows that nowadays. And just really keep on top of this, because that is number one. You want to avoid the pharmaceuticals. And if you want to do that, then you have to eat whole foods. You have to manage your hydration, avoid fast processed foods, avoid the drive-throughs, drink plenty of water. Avoid excessive alcohol. You can have a drink a day, maybe, if you need to, but not go beyond that. And of course, caffeine. Drink, a couple cups in the morning and then switch to water, right? 1 cup.
Exactly.
I know. Well, and then exercise, right? I mean, people have to move, and if you move it or lose it, right? So exercise, the motion is the lotion. You say that all the time, right? And keeping your joints, your muscles, you want to feel good, you want to look good, you want to be capable of being able to work and have a good body and strength. And then you've got to work on the mind. You've got to meditate. You've got to open up the spirit, connect to others, start setting your boundaries, be vulnerable. Prayer, having a daily practice will help you feel like you're connected to something bigger than you, and that it's not just all on you. You're not on your own. There is help in community and help from God.
And
so,
speaking of community, we do have an amazing community, Holistic Caring Network. With the Green Nurses, it's a community that is run by nurses, and the majority of us are patients. We've been on the other side of a bed. We're advocates and activists. It's for patients, it's for providers, it's for people around the globe. You've created an amazing introductory to cannabis course.
Yeah, there's a free intro course. We'll find out the basics of how cannabis works as medicine. So join the network and put some energy into it. Read some of the posts and interact with some of your peers that might be in the same place as you are, learning about the endocannabinoid system and how cannabinoids work to boost our health.
Absolutely. So back to the show. So here we are, Men's Health, right? Men's Health Awareness Month. And so, besides all of the amazing health and wellness activities that you just talked about, cannabis, plant phytocannabinoids, can make it easier to get healthy by doing a few things, like Elizabeth said. Reducing inflammation, which can help you move. Calming your nerves by combating stress. Strengthening the immune system, which boosts wellness, right? So today's topic is really loaded: cannabis, men's health, sexual health, fertility, and libido. Yeah. So in infertility, there's a big controversy over this. Use cannabis, smoke cannabis,
Yeah, so you just talked about cannabis for wellness, right? So, reducing inflammation, reducing some of the nervous system so that we can feel our best, so that we can show up our best. So, what about in the bedroom, right? So men really do think that they are, we want to make sure that everything's working, right?
Exactly.
And so people have fears about cannabis causing infertility. So we can break that down. Infertility is an issue for some men, and everybody, if you're trying to get pregnant and it's not happening in a few months or a year, then you might want to have some screenings. So go back and get your screenings, but then talk to your doctor about this, right? And see if there's anything you can do. From the cannabis side, when in the research, there are receptors, right? The endocannabinoid system, we have CB1 and CB2 receptors over our entire body. They're one of the most active receptor systems we have. And in the reproductive system, we have plenty of CB1 and CB2 receptors.
Yeah, it's amazing. So these CB1 and CB2 receptors, guess where they're found? Reproductive system. Penis, testes, prostate, and spermatozoa.
All the parts.
All the parts. It's just so fascinating. So for the newbies that are here, people are like, CB1, CB2, receptors, cannabinoids. So let's just kind of do a quick little review of what these receptors are, because as we're teaching, it's people need to know, like, they'll be handed a pill and they'll just take it. We give them some cannabis and they need to do research. So we want to make that education a little bit easier to help you all digest.
When you take a pill, it's a single molecule pharmaceutical. It goes into the body, does a very specific thing, and gets metabolized and excreted. When cannabis goes into the body, it is like a symphony. When you have full spectrum whole plant oils, like tinctures and some of the other capsules and modes of administration we'll talk about later, it activates all kinds of things systemically, all at the same time, pleiotropically. So activating mind, body, spirit, health, inflammation, sensations, feeling, analgesia, mood, memory. So think CB1 in our mind and our central channel, our pain, our memory, our motor functions, our processing of our moods, our sensations, our pain, our appetite, our etc. Right, to even temperature. And then CB2 is in the peripheries, right? So think about our blood system, our immune system, all of the skin, as well as the organs. There's so many CB2 receptors everywhere. And so when we activate these receptors, it should bring cells back into balance. And these cannabinoid receptors are there for retrograde signaling, what we call the feedback loops. Like we can talk to each other. Most of the time we have one-way signals. What if you couldn't talk back? That endocannabinoid system helps you message back. And keep us in balance.
So just to review, CB1 receptors, look at them as little docking station on all of the cell surfaces, particularly in the brain and the central nervous system. And the CB2 receptors are those little docking stations in the immune system, periphery, and other organ systems, right? And so the keys, those are considered to be the locks. The keys are the cannabinoids, right? 3 different types of cannabinoids: endocannabinoids we make, phytocannabinoids the plant makes, synthetic cannabinoids the pharmaceutical companies make. So what's really important when it comes to teaching this is the endocannabinoid system influences endocrine and hormonal function in the brain and other glands of both men and women, right? And so anandamide.
So anandamide is the molecule that we make endogenously. So anandamide and 2-AG are our endocannabinoids, and they activate these receptors as needed. They're synthesized as needed, on demand, in response to stress. They perform their function, and then they're dissipated by enzymes. When we take phytocannabinoids, the plant molecules, they activate these same receptors and targets at CB1, CB2 to bring the body back into balance. The only difference is that the phytocannabinoids affect us a little differently, maybe a little bit stronger, and they last a lot longer. So we have to control how we use them.
Here's a cool little thing that was a shoe drop when I started learning. The plant makes THC, we make anandamide, and the molecular structure is the same, goes in and unlocks the door to that neurotransmitter signaling system, the endocannabinoid system. The THC molecule is 10 times stronger than our anandamide molecule, or another way of saying that is the anandamide molecule is 1/10 the strength of the THC molecule. So that is why you don't need a lot. Just little bits,
just little bits to fine tune this system. When we use cannabinoids, phytocannabinoids, we want to tune the ECS and get it back to humming and in perfect balance and health, because a lot of times we'll run deficient and we can supplement to bring us back into balance, but you don't want to overextend and take too much. And when we're talking about infertility, if cannabinoids activate these receptors and that controls the flow and the motility of sperm, these sperm counts, there are all kinds of, and of course, endocrine issues, all of our functioning with respect to the hormones and how things are balanced that way. If we're over stimulating this system, then maybe we want to just let it rest and let it go back to normal homeostasis and not be boosting it up too much. And that's why, you know, monitoring cause and effect, knowing how these compounds affect you is so important.
Right. And so you think about the endocannabinoid system is an on-off switch going on and off all day long. It makes sense to microdose, and that's taking small amounts of phytocannabinoids throughout the day to keep your body well oiled and humming. So back to infertility with men. Okay, this is going to be hard, but too much THC is bad for everyone, including men. It can decrease the motility of sperm. I put a link from Cannabis right in the chat there. So preclinical trials have established that these CB2 receptors that are in our periphery and our immune system are expressed in human sperm, right? So CB2 contributes to the physiological regulation of sperm, and the cannabinoid receptor, GPR18, which plays a role in sperm physiology, right? So data indicates that THC binds to both of these receptor sites, and it can cross, you ready for this? The blood testes barrier. You got a blood-brain barrier. Well, guess what? You got a blood testes barrier too, guys. Right?
Permeability. There's membranes all through our body where, you know, we want to keep things as they're supposed to be contained.
Absolutely.
You got to have that.
Thank you. So basically the research in Cannabis, while it's producing mixed results, current data trends suggest that cannabis use, overly using cannabis, may negatively impact fertility by potentially impacting sperm concentration, motility, or viability.
Yeah. So like we said, if you're struggling to conceive, definitely get this checked out and monitor yourself. You know, how much cannabis am I using? Because we want to keep that fine-tuned and in the right balance.
Right. Okay. Next thing, erectile dysfunction. No one likes to talk about that, but what they have shown is frequent cannabis smoking may affect testosterone, right? There is conflicting research, whether it's negative or not. Erectile dysfunction can be worrisome if you're taking too much, right? Cannabis is biphasic. Low doses do one thing, higher doses doing something else.
So low doses stimulating and energizing, waking up the senses. Too large of a dose can dampen the central nervous system and quiet things down a little bit too much. So with ED, you know, it's a sensitive balance between body, mind, spirit, thinking about, you know, sexuality and preparing for that. And, you know, what kind of thoughts you don't want to be thinking about work. You don't want to be thinking about your gardening or whatever you have left to do or whatever errands you got to run. You want to be present, right? You want to feel good. You want to feel balanced. You don't want the scales tipped either way, right? And so that, you know, sexuality is a lot of really balancing ourselves and presenting our best selves to our partners. So, you know,
you don't, it's not Netflix and chill. It's a little bit different. It's about connection, right? Intimacy, connecting, being together, deepening your personal relationship. And you know, and sexual performance may benefit from low doses of THC to do what? To help arousal, right? Large doses may inhibit orgasm, it showed. So doctors that treat erectile dysfunction tend to caution patients more about the harms of tobacco and alcohol as opposed to sex and cannabis.
Well, and doctors need to be doing full coaching, right? And not just say, okay, you've got a problem, here's a pill. Right?
Pills and procedures.
A couple of months ago, I was watching some news with my mother, and there was a commercial on where all I remember from this commercial was a carrot, and the and so these men were like holding this carrot and smiling, and then they talk about the pills like it's just magic, and maybe it is. Some of those pills, from what I hear, is pretty magic. But
the penis pills,
But, you know, I mean, cannabis can do the same thing. If it can quiet the mind, quiet the stress response, open up the heart, open up connection, that's where we really need to be. It's not just a physiology thing. And on the physiology, if you are having some issues, look at your general health. Most of the time, ED, it can be, you know, inflammatory issues, circulatory issues, nerve issues. You know, so you might have, you know, undetected diabetes or hypertension and other things that are causing the ED that you need to go get your screenings for. But if everything checks out, a puff or two of cannabis, we'll talk about how to use it, might be enhancing Too much, it might be too quieting. So we want to make sure, again, we stay in that sweet spot.
Absolutely. And then libido. Okay, so here we are, men's health, health and wellness, erectile dysfunction, sexual performance. How about libido, the urge, right? So there's various anecdotal accounts that have that have shown contradictory opinions regarding cannabis being an aphrodisiac versus an anti-aphrodisiac, right? But what they've studied is the components of the endocannabinoid system in the treatment of decreased libido, right? And it comes down mostly in favor of cannabis being an aphrodisiac.
Yeah,
however,
it is an aphrodisiac. Going back, thousands of years ago, this was mentioned in Indian literature and Chinese literature. And yeah, right. It's like you have a little bit of cannabis, hashish, they'll call it, and it peaks sexual performance, or at least enhances arousal. And for most people, that's the case. If you go to Project CBD, they've got a lot of studies on sex, and people that are regular cannabis users have sex a lot more. I don't know the number, but I almost think it's 80% more, and maybe it's because we're healthier.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking better care of ourselves. Mm-hmm. So in this libido research board in the Canna Keys article, it did show that couple of the studies, one animal and one human trial, they revealed that the endocannabinoids that we make, the anandamide and the 2-AG, in the nucleus amplifies sensory pleasure, right? And the 2-AG plays a role in the rewarding consequences of sexual arousal and orgasm.
So so the CB1 receptor is in the nucleus accumbens in the brain, very sensitive midbrain areas, as well as TRP receptors, enhancing that sensitivity, enhancing just sensations. Some of the way that you pick up the world around you is much more enticing and stimulating. And again, quieting the stress response and some of that chatter and making you present and alive.
Absolutely. Here we go. And then we have meta-analysis. People don't know what that is, but it's looking at a lot of white papers, a lot of different clinical studies, observational studies, real world evidence, and they put it together. So a very large scale meta-analysis utilizing the data from 28,000 women and 22,000 men indicated that the use of cannabis is associated with increased sexual frequency and does not appear to impair sexual function.
Well, yeah. And so the meta-analysis, again, that's probably citing a lot of these studies that cannabis does help, and it doesn't seem to impair, but this is all dose dependent.
Yeah. Well, here we go. Women. Okay, this is a good one, ladies. So additionally, out of these 28,000 women, they reported frequent use of cannabis had a 2 times higher odds of reporting satisfactory orgasms than those with infrequent use, right? Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Good data.
Boosting pleasure. And you know what, that probably, again, it could be improving blood flow, because we know that CBD is a potent vasodilator. So, right, if you're constricted, you're not going to have as much sensation. If you're more relaxed, you are going to feel more. So blood flow is good. But again, going back to sensations, if a woman is able to quiet her mind down, and be in the body, of course, it's going to be much more powerful and satisfactory.
Yeah, exactly. And men, this goes for you too.
Yep.
We care about you guys. So literally the overall, I'm going to just bottom line it, libido research board, overall positive was 83% in the various studies that they looked at. In a Stanford survey of 24,000 people, cannabis users have more sex than non-users. It has been used as an aphrodisiac, as we had said, for thousands of years. And, like you said, microdosing is the better option, doing a little bit. If you're new to cannabis, do it alone, right? If you're new, guys, even if you're new to cannabis and you're alone, spend some time alone and see how it affects you, how it affects all areas of your bodies, right? And so what about some type of products that people might want to use?
Well, if we're going to break down the products, there's so much that we want to use, but, and it really does go back to, are you alone and going to have just some pleasure by yourself, or are you with a partner? You might want to, use inhalation as a first approach either way, because you can control the dose. You can take one puff is enough, right? And then see what the body response is. Does this increase libido? Does this make you feel more relaxed, open, and loving? And then if you're with a partner, then you can experience that same thing at the same time, enhancing that intimacy and enhancing that connection, initially, and then, exploring that alteration in sensations and just on that one puff. You don't want to be overly intoxicated.
Exactly.
And then microdose edibles. I always think, 2.5 to 5 milligrams just makes people a little bit more cuddly, right? Mm-hmm. It's not too large of a dose to impair things or put you to sleep, but it just makes you more relaxed. And the microdosed edibles, instead of the inhalation with an onset in minutes, edibles are something you might want to take after dinner and then have, an hour onset and then a few hours of duration where you feel those effects and feel that cuddliness. And then you're able to return and then have really good sleep. So, after dinner, take your chocolate edible, get in bed, have a few hours of fun, and have a very pleasant sleep.
And don't forget topicals.
Yeah, you can talk about topicals.
Topicals are great. It's a really good start. Massage. Our skin is our largest organ. We have receptors, CB1 and CB2 receptors in our skin. It does not go into the bloodstream unless it's a transdermal and it has a specific ingredient in it. That's what's so cool about topicals. So you can put that right in your skin. You can put it right in that area. You can sensual, intimate massage.
Yeah, and there are some at the dispensaries. There are some topicals that they say enhance stimulation and enhance, perceptions of pleasure and feeling. Yeah. So I don't know. Those are all, you have to experiment with them yourself. Some people think that they shut things down, and some people think they enhance them. And of course, it can go either way. If you apply something and it doesn't work, don't use it next time. Give it to a friend. Maybe it works for them, because we're all different, and the way we respond to these compounds is all different.
And so then that brings up another really good point. So once you are comfortable, utilizing cannabis with your own intimacy, and you decide to bring in your partner, you have to remember that you guys are very, very different, right? Your partner is completely different than you. Their endocannabinoid system is different than yours. And so what they need and what is going to enhance their pleasure is going to be different than you. So it's a really good time to open up communication, dialogue, intimacy, right? Because we all deserve to feel good.
Yeah.
So I want to give one, before we wrap up, I want to kind of give an example, because everyone, is still a little confused about the endocannabinoid system. And this just might be a good example having to do with stress response, right? Oftentimes, if we're triggered, if men have issues with PTSD, stress, anxiety disorders, right? And are looking for more mental wellness, I just want to give you an example of how the endocannabinoid system works and how cannabis, CBD-rich products could help mitigate that, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens, Elizabeth? We perceive danger in the environment, the
fight or flight.
The fight or flight, right? What happens?
Switches on adrenaline.
The endocannabinoid system activates to create those cannabinoids to provide messages to release the adrenaline hormone
and cortisol, and get you activated and moving and being able to address whatever the danger is. But most of the time we're perceiving danger that's in our psychological environment, not just our physical environment. How many people are being chased by tigers anymore? No, but their boss down the hall is harping on them. Right. There's a new tiger. And you have to be able to turn that stress response down, not only for sexual health, but let's go back to just men's health in general. Inflammation, blood pressure, cardiovascular system, and they all run together. Everything is dependent on each other. Your blood sugars, your lipids, cannabinoids balance all of this. So taking that CBD oil every day is going to decrease some of that fight or flight and decrease the inflammation that could be going on in the cardiovascular, neurovascular, and just regular blood vessel systems, as well as your perceptions.
Absolutely. So you think about that. Back to the endocannabinoid system in the example. You perceive danger, you get triggered, you get scared. The on switch of the endocannabinoid system goes on to create these internal endogenous cannabinoids to give messages, to release adrenaline, to release cortisol, that whole fight or flight response. And what this actually does too is it creates a cascade of physiological responses in all of our organ systems, right? Why? To keep us safe, right? So when this danger or the perceived danger is over, right, our endocannabinoid system has that feedback loop, that retrograde signaling that tells our body to shut it off. Time to stop releasing these cortisol, you don't need to release the adrenaline anymore. The danger is over, right?
Kind of like I'm thinking about the military for some reason, and you've got the drill sergeant there blowing the whistle, like, okay, activate and then turn down, right? And this should be just a matter of moments in the body, right? But we hold our stress for too long, and maybe the endocannabinoid system isn't strong enough to override that, and we have to get our attention somehow. But we need to return back to that state of calm, because that's where our body heals.
Right. And so, getting back to that example, perfect what Elizabeth said. So when that danger or perceived danger is over, the boss stops yelling, the whistle stops blowing, right? What happens is that feedback loop turns off. So it switches off to activate the cannabinoids to turn off the adrenaline, to return the body to the state of calm. Well, guess what? If you're not making enough of your own anandamide or 2-AG, these are your own internal endogenous cannabinoids, you may not be able to turn off that switch, right? So what happens is, if you can't turn off the adrenaline, if you can't turn off those stress hormones, you're going to remain in what? Chronic fight or flight, producing excess cortisol, and that truly 100% hinders our body's ability to go back to homeostasis.
Well, yeah, and it causes the inflammation. A little bit of cholesterol and cortisol is good. Too much is crippling, and
it's about the balance.
Yeah. Exactly.
On, off, do something, stop doing something. And that is the beauty of the endocannabinoid system.
Yeah, and the body itself, right? But the endocannabinoid system regulates the entire body. So it is just so beautiful the way that we are just intelligently designed.
Yep, amazing. I love it. So this is why it is really important, men, women, children, we all have an endocannabinoid system, to supplement with whole plant phytocannabinoids. And we're really, really excited, Elizabeth. We're going to be launching.
Yeah, we're going to be launching Lemire CBD pretty soon.
Yeah.
And we're really excited about this. Some phytonutrients that can truly supplement and bring us back into health in a plethora of ways. In just our inflammatory, our pain, our relaxation, and being able to rest and sleep. Our immune system, and stimulating and boosting our wellness, and increasing our focus and our energy and our metabolisms and our cognition. We're working on products that are going to do this, and way more to come, because we've got some incredible scientists on board that I cannot wait to work with and develop all of these products to do what? To heal the world. Tikkun Olam. And it's so important that we get these phytonutrients done right, because there's such an incredible potential for the endocannabinoid system to be modulated to heal all other diseases. But we don't know exactly how to do this. We're still starting out. This is a very nascent industry. Not everybody's regulated. And so, the whole thing is to create quality medicines, to get them to patients with guidance and dosing support and conversation and community. So that's why we built the network and put it all together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So, we're going to be doing a special show on Cannabis America, Lemire CBD, and the launch of our new clinic that we're building. We're building a clinic right now called Lifted.Clinic. And basically, it's going to be for patients. It's going to be for all of you out there that are new. Right?
And it's going to provide a nurse line. It's going to be a nurse line where we're going to, start out with just 5 days a week, but then get to 7 days a week, and eventually 24/7, because this is going to be global. So Lifted.Clinic is going to operate in the US and the UK and Germany and Australia and Mexico and Canada and Brazil. We're going to be having clinics all over the world, and it's very exciting.
And the most exciting thing about it, it's being run by nurses. It's run by nurses. Guess what? Because we care.
Yeah. And we're the #1 trusted profession 20 years in a row.
Yep. And what makes us different is that not only are we clinical nurses with a ton of experience, but we're also medical cannabis patients. We've been on the other side of the bed, and we know what it feels like. We know what it's like to be there. We know what it's like to be sick, to be suffering, to be scared, to be wanting to do anything you can to heal and recover. And that's what medical cannabis is all about. Yeah. Medical cannabis is about helping you to reach new levels of wellness, to bridge the gap from what you're not getting from conventional medicine, and literally about what?
Living your best life. And it's not about being high. I love to just refocus hope, inspiration, growth, and healing. But a little bit of euphoria isn't going to hurt anybody. Right?
It's not.
So, yeah.
It's the side effect. It's a side effect of plant medicine is feeling good. And guess what? We all deserve to feel good. So that's it for today. It's a
Do we
wrap.
have any specials that you want to announce?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, we forgot to talk about. So on that CBD Wellness Coach program that we wrote, that one is 25% off with men 25.
Men 25.
Men 25.
Yep.
And today is the last day that we extended our nurse month from May, and we were at Patients Out of Time, which was an amazing conference last weekend, and we wanted to extend Nurse 25 to anybody that might want to take one of our professional pathway programs where they can learn how to be a cannabis health coach, our CHC program. 25% off all of those. So enter Nurse 25 and check out our programs.
Yep. And before I'm just gonna plug
before we launch Lumiere, we've got Bloom Hemp. We have another one,
and we've been
much.
Yeah, we've been working.
And take this ourselves.
Yeah, we do calming. Recovery.
I used the recovery this morning after trimming some palm trees. I was out there with my saw. It was early and I felt like having some physical activity, and I just like to trim trees. So, you come in, you take a shower, you rub a topical on that shoulder. I've had 3 shoulder surgeries, like a lot of these guys that have had orthopedic issues. It's like address that, quiet the inflammation here, and then take the tincture, activate the systemic anti-inflammatory properties, CBD, CBG, beta-caryophyllene, just really helping soothe and balance the body. Turmeric, exactly.
Great. And so what I did when I took mine this morning, because I watched her with a saw cutting down palm trees, having a heart attack, I took my Calm. And as she's working, sawing things down, I take my Calm and I go lay on my mat and just do a little rolling around, just some music. And you know me, I'm all about the woo. Woo works.
High science.
There you go. Here we are. And guess what, y'all? We love you. Thank you for joining us. We're going to be, like I said, I'm going to get back to weekly next week. I think I have Nurse Carrie Leon with me. And next month, our clinical conversation is going to be about pride, right? About that community and about health and wellness, and looking at the history of the LGBTQ and how it evolved cannabis. Prop 215.
Prop 215 in California kicked it all off with the San Francisco community, people dying of AIDS and needing comfort and restoration as they're needing to have pain reduction, appetite promotion, nausea prevention, all of those things that had coupled with all of those horrible symptoms before we got drug cocktails that were going to help people. That's why Prop 215 passed. That's why we do what we do, so that we can increase access and advocacy rights for everybody to be able to use this plant to heal and to manage their health in the way that they choose.
Absolutely. So please help us change the paradigm of healthcare. Share this video, share the love of Holistic Caring Network and the Green Nurses. We're here for you. We love you, and have an absolutely happy hump day. We're here to educate and empower patients to make choices that are best for them. We're also here to decrease stigma around what it means to feel good and be high. Hence the H for hope, I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing. The Green Nurse is a holistic cannabis nurse that teaches on the endocannabinoid system and the safe utilization of cannabis and other progressive tools to help people reach a better quality of life.
I was cannabis agnostic for many, many years. And the more research I did, the more I discovered that cannabis is this amazing medicine.
I was told that I had a 4-stage pancreatic cancer. The doctor really told me he couldn't do anything else. He gave me her name and she called me and she came to my house. She started to give me cannabis. My oncologist was puzzled because he couldn't find the cancer anymore.
All of the learning that we get comes from the Green Nurses Group, comes from their support, comes from their guidance. I trust everything that she says.
Simply meet people where they're at. The plant doesn't, stress to grow, so we don't stress to share it. We're healing people.
Cannabis has been used as a medicine for tens upon thousands of years. Here's the big message. Cannabis needs to be federally legal. We need to have laws that are the same across all 50 states that allow access to anyone and everyone who wants to utilize this powerful medicine.